And here we are. We are live. We are ready with the big pod. We have a lot to discuss here on ATB Season 10. And I'm your host for this one, Nick. In the top right corner, we have right below me, Stephen with a PH. How are you, Stephen?
Thanks, Nick. Hello.
Very good.
We got how long has it been?
About 3 weeks, maybe?
I think it's been longer.
Forgot. Anyway. And we've got Josh, bottom right corner. Good evening, sir.
Hey, how's it going?
And top right corner, returning for the first time in a long time, Tatiana. Hello, Tats.
Hello, I'm back and defrosted.
Defrosted. You did spend a bit of time in the winter, which I'm quite jealous of. I am very much a winter person, but that means you didn't have to put up with the crap that we've had to experience for the last month. Is that true?
I am also, well, at least I thought I was a winter person, Nick, but maybe we're just Australian winter people, because once it hits like -17, we're not winter people anymore.
Maybe it's my my Balkan blood that maybe has me acclimatized, even though I have never lived in such conditions. But that's discussion for another time. This is the 10th mother effing season of Around the Block, and it does feel a little bit mother effing because nothing seems to go right for us. But things that do go right is that social media now has us all joined together. So we have a link tree with all our links, which is linked.re/Around the Block. That's linkt.re/Around the Block, BLOC. Don't you forget it. We got Discord. We are live. We do have some exciting news. Obviously not what we're going to talk about tonight. We do have some exciting news that Josh has been a part of, but we might wait until end of the week or maybe next week when all this hype and things die down. But really, nothing major has happened at all. Let's be honest, Josh, nothing's happened that you know of?
Nah, it's been a quiet week as a Wanderers fan. Can't wait till the football starts up and we might have something to talk about on the pod for once. So, yeah, might be a short one tonight, guys.
Yeah, Nick, I don't know why we're recording on a Monday, because normally the announcements are on Tuesday or Wednesday morning, right?
It's normally
after we record, so.
Yeah, we record on a Tuesday night and there's an announcement Wednesday morning. It's like, why can't they do this before we record? So nothing's happened. Tats, anything that may be on suspicion to you?
No, I mean, I've been super out of the loop, you know what I mean? Out of the country, out of mind, out of sight, out of mind for me with the Wanderers, to be honest. Nothing's happened that I think of, that I can think of.
It's a very, very wise thing. And just a note, once again, we are live. So if you're watching or listening to this live, do feel free to chime in, drop your comments in the comments tab below. Let us know what you think, because whilst we all like to have a laugh and a piss take and blah, 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 actually, we do have some big news. And that is that Robinson has been relieved of his duties, and this is basically the big news at the moment. There he is there with arms in his pockets, which you can probably sum up his Wanderers career with his arms in his pockets or his arms folded. Effective immediately, and this was pretty much after the 3-0 drubbing against the Brisbane Roar, where Brisbane had like 4 or 5 goals all season, and they scored 3 against us in one match. So, Stephen, sum up your thoughts real quickly.
Future endeavoured.
Fair. Look, there's nothing else to it. That's literally it. This is the article from the Wanderers website. That's literally it.
So for Tats and Josh, I don't know what I'm talking about. It's a wrestling joke. So there's been times in the past where the WWE just like cut a lot of people from the roster, and pretty much this is what they get on the website. They've been there for 10 years, and they get, "We wish them well in their future endeavors." That's it.
Future endeavored, yeah.
So it's like a meme now, future endeavored, and that's what this is. Every time I see future endeavors, I see at work, I'll just chat to this guy that's a wrestling fan. It's like, he got future endeavored.
Josh, was this something that was incoming, or was this a bit out of the blue? Because let's not forget, only a few weeks ago, we had the whole article from football.com, which we said, you know, how do we really credit football.com for something like this, where they had Tatsimus, Lederer, and the other fella, I forget his name, Gavin or whatever his name is. And it was talking about toxic football culture with Beecham coming out, and we've also had Ante Kovic mention something as well, which is, we're going to get into it soonish. But was this expected for you?
Oh, look, I mean, we were all watching the football over the last couple of months. We're all looking at the results. I think we're 11th place now. I also remember today we got knocked out of the cup by RPL Leichhardt as well. Like, that feels like, you know, if this is season 10 of Wanderers, that feels like is at least season 6 or 7. That's how long ago it feels. So yeah, look, can't be shocked. The final nail in the coffin was Saturday night, and I think we can all agree that his position was untenable, I believe the word is. There was no way he could stay after that. And look, honestly, I wasn't even watching it closely. I was out, but it was on a TV, And every time you looked over, it was just the same old kind of absolute garbage, to be honest. So
It was worse.
I think we can.
Actually, Josh.
It was worse. Yeah.
It was worse than the absolute garbage we've been seeing, especially after a month of waiting for this game, regardless of people with COVID and all that sort of stuff, like with the team. But you've been waiting 4 weeks for this, and that was what they dished up. It's worse than when JP had the team for 3 months to get them prepared for like a 5-game onslaught to make the finals, and they were freaking terrible. Every time a team loses 3-0, I think, why did you bother traveling? You should just forfeit. Like, you wasted your time traveling away to Brisbane and possibly getting locked behind borders. You should just forfeit it. It was rubbish. It was worse than what we've seen under Robertson. So that says a lot. Whether he's lost the dressing room over the last 4 weeks, or I don't know. Obviously, his motivational speeches aren't enough to get him to money. So it was bad.
All the way from the winter cold of the States, were you keeping up with the results, keeping up with the Wanderers, if you will?
I was. It was in reverse. I was watching Wanderers games at 1 a.m. and I was watching. Oh, well, the one I got to watch, and I was watching like EPL at 2 p.m., which is the dream, to be honest. I'm going to be honest with you. That's fantastic. But like, speaking of Saturday's game, I mean, for all our shit talking about how bad the Wanderers are, the one thing they're really good at is making shitty teams look great when they play against us. So nothing different there.
No, 100% got to agree there. And look, as I mentioned, the article from Football as well, and this is it here on screen. Ante Kovic quoted saying they've lost their soul. The club legend laments the Wanderers' A-League decline by Dave Lewis, published today at 7 a.m. Basically, he says that they've lost their soul. Kovic fears Sunday's sacking of Coach Carl Robinson will only herald more failure unless there's a cultural change. Gary Van Egmond, the assistant, will seek to halve the slide against Perth on Wednesday. So that means that new coach Mark Rudan, who we need to make note is the new manager, and there is a lot of conjecture and a lot of discussion about him being appointed, but that's coming later on. So I think that goes without saying that the game against Perth will be a team that is going to be led by Gary Van Egmond, and the only time where we actually looked a decent side was against Melbourne City, where Carl Robinson was not beside the pitch. He was actually in a hotel quarantining or whatever because of Rona, and we had Gary Van Egmond and Labano Haliti on the sidelines there. So maybe this is a sign of things to come. Maybe we may be playing some better football without Carl Robinson there. Is that unfair to say, Stephen?
Well, it's hard to say. It's hard to say. Did we set up differently because Gary Van Egmond was on the bench and Robinson was looking at flights in the hotel? I don't know. We threw that game away, didn't we? Weren't we up?
Yeah.
We lost that game, didn't we?
2-0, drew 3-3.
No, 3-3. We were up 2-0, but we drew 3-3.
I can't remember anymore. Yeah, so I don't know. I think it'll just be an interim measure. You'll see hopefully a better performance. If you see a good performance by the players on Wednesday, that means they had no faith in Robertson. Now they're playing for a new manager, right? Someone put a stat that Bacchus is like his 7th manager since being at the Wanderers. He's been under every single manager. So it's like the kid's 23 or something. He's had like 7 managers in his professional career.
We've had five managers over the last how many seasons? Like Kovic just quoted us saying here, this year has been all over the place with what's been happening internally and with the results. Kovic told Football, but he goes a lot deeper. It doesn't just start with the issues with the coach. Make of that what you will. You've seen coach after coach come and go with the same results. Things have to change. He says here, if some hard truths aren't aired, then you're masking things and almost putting the next coach, currently assistant Gary Van Egmond, in a position of failure. So Josh, is that our great leader, Kovic, basically stating that actually what fans have, well, some pockets of fans have been saying for a few years now is maybe true, or there is some element of truth to it, saying that club management is maybe a bit of a problem? Because if they're the ones that are appointing these managers and they're not working out, well, the buck surely has to stop with them.
Well, yeah, and I mean, we talked about this what feels like months and months ago now, but I think it was the last time we did a live stream pod, the last one I was on at least, where was when all that stuff came out. And I don't think anything's changed since then at all, because that was like Robinson's position was looking pretty grim at that point. We've, I think, drawn 1 game and lost 1 game since then. So nothing's changed. It's like we all knew this was coming. We honestly didn't expect it to turn it around. And it's pretty clear there's some issue there. There has to be. And the fact that you've got your ex-players lining up to take pot shots. And look, look, I will say the only thing kind of just the other side of it is I do want to mention is as much as Kovic and as much as some of these guys are great to the club, like Kovic was there in a unique position where the club had only been around, hadn't been around at all, and he was there for the first couple of years, and fair enough. So he's someone who's been around football for a long time, and I respect his opinions a lot as someone who has been around football for a long time. But those first couple of years were like nothing else we've really ever seen, build a club from scratch, all of that kind of stuff, whatever. But it's got to mean something when all these ex-players are literally just lining up to have their hit, to stick the foot in and just roast the club. And I think it's clear. It's like, how many managers have we had now? What do we say? 5, 6, 7, something, whatever. And it's the same old shit. Well, clearly it goes deeper than that. And so I don't think anything's changed. I think now more and more people are saying it. I think there's no disputing it now that there's issues that run a lot deeper. And it's disappointing to see. I think it looks like it's continuing, which we will get to later, as we said. But it's just same crap after another.
Just a few comments. Sorry, Steve, I'm going to have to cover your face here so we can still hear your lovely voice. But George says here, hearing that there will be a new technical director next season or maybe the rest of the season, perhaps that could be something there. And William says here, replacing the coach will change nothing at the club. Tats, were you aware of the calling out of the club and its people from Dean Heffernan and a couple of others? Even there was an unnamed footballer apparently said, after all I've done for them, I never felt welcome at the club. And even the likes of Daniel Georgievski, who we consider a cult hero, not just like for us, I consider him one, not just because of the background, but in the A-League as well, like a bit of a cult hero. Even he was like, you could see he was happy that Robinson got the sack, that he got the punt. And even on Twitter, he says, what, this is something that the team needs. They need someone to strike down with an iron fist, someone who's got, a pair of balls to actually say what needs to be said. Were you aware of the backwards and forwards from former players about the club management?
I mean, I knew. So before I left, I saw the Dean Heffernan's comments and stuff like that. I saw that. And then, funnily enough, on Sunday when we sacked the player, my sister, when we sacked Robinson, my sister showed me a tweet, and she's like, "Look at the tweet." I'm like, "Yeah, I know, Robbo's out." She's like, "No, look who tweeted this. Look who said this about him." And I was like, "Yeah, I don't get it. I don't know what you're saying." And then I saw that was Georgievski's tweet, and I was like, "Damn!" So even recent players, not just players who are holding grudges for the last couple of years. I don't know. It's difficult to say. Obviously, there's something going wrong. And it's much deeper than any of us know, because obviously I work within the club on game days and things like that. And from what I see, and I understand that I can't be completely objective about this, but I do see quite a tight-knit group working behind the scenes. But obviously I'm not talking from a football perspective or technical perspective. I see a really hard-working group of people trying to make this club live up to the expectations that they set really, really early on. And I knew it from the start. I knew from those early seasons when we performed so well that it's like, oh shit, this fall is going to be so hard and it's going to be so difficult to come back up. I just didn't think it was going to be 8 years worth of trying to climb back up, to be honest with you. But yeah, look, there's things that I can't see. And even from working in the club, like I said, I see a team of really dedicated people to the club who have been there since I started supporting the club, which is since day one.
Hashtag
since day one.
Just gotta get.
But
that
yeah,
in
I'm probably a little bit also probably attached to a few of the people that work really hard, that I see work really hard. But I'm not a football director or a technical director, and I don't know what's happening from a football culture.
Josh, I want to ask you this question here, but we've got a comment here in the chat, and also the says here the article here from Kovic saying that he has empathy for Robinson, tempered by the fact he was given carte blanche to make a raft of high-profile signings without there ever being the nearest hint of a discernible plan or structure emanating from all the tinkering. Says you have to feel some sympathy for him, but at the same time there was no direction, everything looked lost, no imagination, you couldn't see any improvement under Carl, brought in big names but couldn't bring out the best in them. And this is where Steve, I'm going to cover your face again, sorry. Matt says here, Tatsumas defended the club's decision to hand Robinson full control of the football department, but continued to resist calls for a director of football to be installed at the Wanderers, according to the Sydney Morning Herald. Is that a bad move from Tatsumas? And I think it was him that got absolutely rinsed in a presser today, if I'm not mistaken.
Look, so we know my thoughts on that, and I've said it every pod, and I'll say it again. We need to change something with the structure. I actually want to not call out Kovic. Kovic, absolutely valid in what he says, but one of the ironies of this season, I think, is that we actually do have a good squad. I think I don't have much of a problem with the players we've signed. So Kovic says there's no plan to our signings. I disagree. I think tactically or footballing wise, there's maybe not as much of a plan, but they clearly went with a plan of getting good young players, either from the academy or from around the league, getting local West Sydney players and building the team around, young guys and West Sydney guys. So that's why we saw Rami Najarine come back. That's why we saw Dimi Petratis come back. And then filling the gaps with experienced guys to be the leaders. So that's where you got Reece Williams, Tomer Hamed, etc. So I disagree there wasn't a plan with the signings this year. And I think we can all see that the players we've got are much better than the football that's being produced. So it's kind of a weird irony where I will say I disagree with JT completely from the outside. It's so much easier to sit here taking pot shots from someone who's not involved in the club. So JT, fair enough. I'm in a different position, but I cannot for the life of me understand why we're still sticking with this. As I said last time, JT's the one copying this now. If he has a footballing director, he can focus on the non-direct football side of the club. He can do the CEO job properly. He can focus on all that stuff he does really well, get someone else to manage the football side of things, and then the coach, they can have a cohesive plan. They can have an idea of what they want to do from season to season, not thinking just one lot of signings at a time, because we live and die by Robinson, just like we live and died by Babel, we lived and died by Gombau before that, and we lived and died by Popper. Lucky for us, Popper tended to be more lived than died, fair enough. But when you put coaches in that position, you can't complain about this, right? So Robinson's in this position where he's got to sign every player. He's got to figure out every player he wants to come in, apparently, although Gavin Costello, what's he doing? And then Robinson also has to try and get the team playing cohesive football. And he could clearly only do one of those two things. He brought in the good players, fair enough, but he has not been able to get them to play football. So I think for me, obviously I want a director of football because that's someone who can be responsible for, we have an idea. We want to sign young players. We want to sign West Sydney players. Awesome. But also to think about how they're going to play football together and think about, okay, what's the style of football that goes beyond just the coach? Robinson last year was playing frenetic, direct football that was like chaotic. This year's slow, patient passing football. You can't change like that season for season. And now Rudan's going to come in and play a whole different style because he plays different football to either of those kind of styles. So he's going to come in and do something different. Then if he is not kept for beyond the end of the season, a new coach is going to come in who's going to play different yet again, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, that's why you need one person at the top to go, okay, this is the identity of the club. These are the kinds of things we want to do. And then they can work with the coach to make that happen, right? So to me, it's a no-brainer. It really is. But look, Satsumas has said what he wants, and we'll live and die by that, JT.
George says there, JT basically said that he's made mistakes at the club as a CEO. If you admit it, then remove yourself. I don't know if that's a fair call there. Steve,
I think maybe JT needs to work on his business cases because the fact that he says there's no director of football coming, maybe he just doesn't have a good business case to let her to actually pay for it. He might not be in the position to actually make that call because he's not in charge of the money in terms of the club. He's in charge of the money from the business perspective and chasing the money and all that sort of stuff. Maybe it's not in his hands. It's up to the board, and Letter is obviously the face of that board, and they don't want one. They think they're good enough. So whatever their KPIs or whatever their objectives are, they think they're meeting it. Whether that's building the $30 million facility and farming out players, but even then, we're not selling him like McGree, who just left. Someone just left.
McGree.
McGree was already out. It was a sell-on clause, but that's the point. It's like smart business. That's what
we haven't seen any of that, right? We haven't seen any of that. We've had this academy, for a number of years now, like before the facilities were made, and we haven't made any of that money. We haven't seen anyone sold overseas and any on-sale clauses. So where are they getting the cash? What are their objectives? What are their KPIs? Outside of the football, JT always says the business is running well, just the stuff on the pitch is bad. Okay,
but fix it.
He obviously is in a good position, a good standing with Letter, otherwise he'll be gone, or Letter will be chasing someone else. So they obviously are happy with where they are. But us as fans are not happy because we've
Hell
been
no.
shit for 8 years.
Of course
So
not.
there's a disconnect there of what the club's objective is and what they say they are, because they say they're a club for the people and for the West, and they have that identity, and their videos are awesome, and the kit is awesome, and that part of the identity and the branding is freaking awesome. But there's shit on the pitch, and when you start bringing in coaches like this and that, and the last few coaches, people just like getting over it. It's like, I watch these videos, like, because my little one wants to watch football all the time, so I'm putting on the Wanderers complete story stuff, and I'm watching the Champions League recently. I'm like, well, where are all these people gone? Well, I'm watching a game with, like, it's a packed Paris Stadium. We're winning the Champions League final and the semi-final. I'm like, where are these 20,000 people? Where have
Nowhere.
they been for the last 8 years?
Gone.
Were they just riding the wave and then just not interested in football at all, or they're just over the club, they're over the A League? I don't know, but the club's obviously happy, but they haven't announced the memberships this year, or the last year, so they obviously dropped a lot. Where they used to boast about that, so I know business-wise they're getting good sponsors in a tough market and things like that, but yeah, are we just looking at the bottom line and the red and black of the numbers at the bottom of the Excel sheet, or is there something else? So,
Well, it's
us
like
from our perspective, we want the football side fixed, right? Because we're sick of
Yeah.
losing all the time.
I was gonna say it is like a red and black game in a way. Are we in the red or in the black? If the club's in the black, then they must think everything is okay. But you can't be okay when your main product is a shambles. You know what I mean? How you meant to run a business if your main product is not working? Tats, I want to
We're
ask you
talking
this
W League too. Sorry, the women's as well, right? So the
That-
women's
yeah,
been shit for the whole
that
time.
too. Yep.
10 years. So.
Tats, I want to go to you because you've been in press conferences post Wanderers games and all that sort of stuff as well, even just as an eavesdrop. Based on Vince Frugari's tweet, he says, hopefully that press conference we just had is put online somewhere. Must see. George Clark says, went in with 2 feet and a machete in each hand before anyone else could get a word in. He says his first question was, George from the AAP here, you went all in with Carl. You gave him total control of the football department, and then you've allowed him to crash it into the wall. Basically, why did you give him all that rope? How tense would that have been, honestly?
Do you know what? I actually don't sit on press conferences because of this. Because I'm really, this is why I didn't follow through with journalism, because I'm not very good at confrontation. Unless I'm like shitting on you on Twitter, face to face. I don't like to sit in on. I don't like to sit on press conferences like this. But 2 things. It's like, does it phase JT much when, like, he's been to forums where all the fans are just yelling at him anyway? So, like, at one point, does he give a shit? But just to go back on what Stephen was saying, like, talking about how the business is good, it's ironically like, if the football actually becomes good, business would be even better. So, like, if you do really care about money, yeah, okay, we've got the sponsorship deals. Like you said, we make great videos. We've got great kits. I'm never going to forget Vince Rugari saying Wanderers have no business looking that good with Kappa kits like that and Kappa merch like that when they're so shit on the field. And I do not disagree, because I think I like tweeted a picture of like the new jacket. So if money is the main point, let's be honest, like, football is a business and money making is what we want. And, like, all right, we're making money, but we could make so much more if you really gave a shit about money. We could make so much more if we played well. And I'm just worried that them giving someone all that control at the start of our life as a club worked well one time, and then they're like, well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, in terms of, like, if you just give a coach all the control and let them do everything, it actually works and brings you an Asian Champions League. But that worked once, and we were very, very lucky to win that. And it's been 9 years, and it's not working for us anymore. Like, it hasn't worked for us for so long.
There's only a few personalities they'll work for, right? So Popper, clearly it works for him because it's worked for him at Perth. It's worked for him now in Melbourne Victory. It's happening. There's only probably, who's the other one that I was thinking of? Muscat, I don't know how much control he had in Victory, but, and obviously Ange, right? It was just like, obviously, give him control and he'll get you a trophy. Not many other personalities or coaches in the A-League can demand that much control. Graham Arnold's probably another one as well.
Stephen, I actually think, and we're going to get this later, I think our new coach is someone who demands that. That's what the message seems to be.
I think he is, and I'm going to be the devil's advocate when we talk about that in terms of a football perspective. He's probably someone that we need in terms of a hard ass and not taking any shit from anyone, because clearly the players are doing whatever the hell they want and getting away with murder, and they've been rubbish on the pitch. If a real coach would not let him get away with that. And you know what the final nail in the coffin for Robertson was? Twice he's been asked back to back, why do you think that's happened in the game? Why can't you score goals, or why are you conceding? Honestly, I don't know. I need to look at it. Like, if you don't know, who's gonna know? And even my wife is going, "What the hell is this guy talking about?" like she's like, isn't that his job to know?
Yeah,
Like,
pretty much. It's in the
everyone's
job
playing
description,
chess, you're
dude.
playing checkers, man. Like, what the hell is going on? Like,
But
if
are
you don't
you-
understand that, no one's gonna know.
Okay, Tats.
No, I was gonna say, Stephen, you're saying that the players are just doing whatever the hell they want and they're not listening. But time and time again this season, and last season, we just said that we've come to the conclusion that Robbo has no plan. So it's not so much that they're just doing.
Oh,
They don't
exactly.
need someone. Yeah, it's not like that. They're not the ones that need discipline. Well, they do need discipline in that sense, but as in, it's not that they're going against everything. He's just told them. It's just like, I don't think they knew what the hell he wanted from them.
They haven't been told anything, so they're just doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're a team of individuals. You look at this squad on paper, like we did 2 months ago, and we're like, okay, that's a top 4 side. Like on paper, with the experience, and we said that last year, and the year before, and the year before, and the year before that. We had we've had a squad that
Rinse and
should be
repeat,
challenging.
Steve. Copy paste.
Oh,
That's what it
dude.
is.
It's a copy paster. but and then you watch them play. It's like, what is going on here? Like anyone in the stadium could get this team playing better than what they've been playing. Like just some sort of formation or tactic or something. And Robinson comes out and says, I don't care about formations or tactics. Well, clearly it's obvious that you don't, because the players are playing. Well, there's no structure. And the journalists finally picked up on it this year, saying what the hell's going on after the first few rounds. And we've been talking about it for a year and a half. But you're right, Tats. Like you can't blame all the players yet, because I don't think they've had any direction. I've always said a good coach could get mediocre players playing well, and Popper proved that. Gus Hiddink proved that in 2006 and all that sort of stuff. But you have a team of champions and a shit coach, you're not going to win anything. You need to have someone steering the ship. Whether Rudan is going to be the Rudan, or however you want to, whether he's going to be the right guy to do it, but he's going to bring in some Popper mentality in terms of, I'm not taking any crap. You're following my way, otherwise you're out. So it'll be another clean out at the end of the season. But he's only been signed on for the rest of the season for now.
Yeah. Well, until we see what happens. And like Laura says here, like, do we have the squad to make Rudan style of football work? Because we've got quick wingers, we've got decent centre backs, we've got a decent midfield. Maybe we're still lacking an actual striker up front. Maybe Tom Mohamed is meant to be our number 9, but he's been in and out of the squad. Abini, yeah, he's hit and miss half the time. And the other fellow we've got plays number 21. I forget his name, my mistake, and a couple of youngsters. Apart from that, we don't really have anyone to really put the goals in. I mean, before we move on to the abysmal 3-0 game just the other day, I mean, you had Abini available on the bench, and then you bring him on in like the 50th, 60th minute, then you go down another goal, and then you start bringing on defenders. It's a bit late for that, my friend. You need to be chasing goals. Bringing defenders ain't going to help you. But, I mean, in saying all that as well, with the article here from the Wanderers website as well, it's funny though, Lederer says we need to improve our standing, plain and simple. Well, yeah, I think that's plainly obvious to see, my friend. I mean, it's like you're preaching to the choir here. You know what I mean? He says this appointment was made to bring back a formidable mentality to our team, to stand up for our region and play with absolute determination to succeed. So like you said, yeah, Rudan does understand he needs to be a bit of a ball breaker to this squad, and I think he does have it in him, which is why I'm not half upset about the appointment. Like, I'd prefer that we don't change our manager halfway through a squad and consider a complete write-off. But it is what it is. But Rudan will come in there, and he is a bit of a prick when it comes to yelling at players and demanding things and giving it to the referees and all sorts of other bits and pieces, which we need a bit of steel in there. But again, I go back to Laura's comment. Do we have the squad to make his style of football work, at least for the rest of the season?
Well, it's up to now Rudan to adapt for the squad that he's got, right? You can't make any changes. When's the window close? It'll probably be soon, right? I don't think we're moving in the market, right? So the squad's good enough for any coach to do something with his squad. I don't think there's anything in there. It's up to him as a coach. Like, we've seen other coaches come in, they can't adapt their style for what's happening on the pitch. Robertson's one of them, or whatever. So I think the squad's good enough for him to get something out of it. That's what is his style? A counter attack? Like, I don't know what he's
I mean,
He's very defensive. So He's very sit a bit deeper, control games without the ball, just kind of absorb pressure, smother the opposition, and then either hit them quick or get kind of clever players able to move the ball with a bit of freedom, sort of thing. So
But
when
that worked at
Rudan's
Wellington, right? Because he didn't have the best
Yes.
squad, and so does it change?
And at Western as well, yeah. So that's my question, right? Because it's like, so Rudan, when things were going well with him at Wellington and at Western, they were bloody effective because they were very hard to break down, and he had clever players. So he had Diamante at Western United in the middle of the park controlling things, and he had the space to play because they were sitting deep and moving the ball forward more quickly. So when it was going well for Rudan, they were just so hard to break, and they'd hit you and they'd get goals. When it was going badly for Rudan, they were just boring crap. Like they were just not scoring, not conceding many. Games were rubbish, just absolute crap. So one thing that's going to piss a lot of people off is there's a decent chance he goes to 3 at the back because he was doing that at Western United, and it suited his, like he managed to get his players doing very well with that as well. So do we have the players to suit his style? Maybe. Like I mean, I remember saying a few months ago, or a month or two ago, I would like to see a Wanderers team that can defend, and even if they're sitting a bit deeper, you got a Beanie to hit players on the counter, a Gawa to hit players on the counter. So I think Jack Rodwell will probably be key as well. I think he's probably going to, because what he did at Western United was like, he recognized Diamante was the best player he had, and he gave him freedom and let him have the space he wanted and do what he sort of wanted. So I think Jack Rodwell is going to be in the middle of the park doing what he wants, or with freedom to play is what I think. I hope so. I hope he's not pushed back defense or anything like that. So will he have the squad? I don't know. I don't know whether it is a perfect squad for him, but I think it's definitely, as you said, Stephen, if he can't work with this squad, well, what's he doing in football? Because it's good enough quality-wise.
Look, if you're saying he's a defensive coach, well, our defense is shit, so we kind of need a defensive coach. And he probably is a bit of a defensive coach because he plays as a defender, right? So he knows how to get that set up, and he was good at it too. So, look, we're leaking goals like crazy, and Robertson's solution was buying Reece Williams to just fix the defense instead of actually fixing the structure. And now Reece Williams is out for maybe the rest of the season. Who knows? So we need a better structure and a game plan at the back. And it's going to be the young kids doing it, unless Ziggy Gordon gets his foot in the door again. But it's basically going to be Katumbas and Nada, and foreign keeper behind him, and maybe Metakutis comes in. I don't know. So maybe Rudan will be good for these young kids, actually teaching them how to defend and get their foot in the door and get consistent game time. I don't know. Like that's the positive.
Wait, Steve, you're talking about defense, bro. The guy conceded less than he had goals in minus 17 in his season for West United last season.
Nick, I'll tell you why, Nick. Yeah, so remember when even Carl Robinson's Western Sydney Wanderers absolutely pumped them? Because that's when Rudan, and we'll go into his personality in a little bit, the other issue with Rudan that we haven't touched on, but when things go badly for a Rudan team, they go very, very, very badly. And that's the problem when you give someone complete control and they're a bit of a nutcase, things blow up very badly. So do you remember the game when we absolutely pumped them last season?
Yeah, I was surprised.
I can't remember, was it 5-0, 3-0, 4-0 something?
5-0.
5-0.
It was to lose that match or something, and then we got
but his Western team had given up. It was when a team has given up on their coach. That was what it was. And so that's the other big risk with Mark Rudan, is he's a bit fiery and he rubs people the wrong way. And when things go badly, they go very, very badly. So that's why the goals conceded are so high for a defensive team, because when things go bad, they go bad.
They do. Tats, can I ask, you're obviously on the sidelines at home games when you hear other managers yelling at players and things like that. Do you have any recollection of Mark Rudan when he was at Western United or at Wellington Phoenix playing against us, what he's like on the sidelines as a manager?
He's exactly what you would expect. Just loud, rude, abusive. Like, as in just even yelling at anyone sort of working like a referee team behind, not on the pitch, just like what are you yelling at me for? Like, I'm not calling the shots. And he's like, that was bullshit, and it. It's just like, but I mean, that's it's unfair to just point Rudan and say it's just him, because when you're on the sideline and you're a coach, like everybody's losing it.
If he's not losing it, it's better than Robinson just sitting there with his arms folded and not doing anything, right?
Yeah. He let his assistant coaches get fired up. So
but
maybe for him it was about keeping there's a thing that they say, like, not to refer to anything to K-pop, but there's a like when there's like a K-pop star, they're given like a personality to keep. So they're just like, maybe that's him. He's just trying to keep this aura of like, I'm a cool, suave guy. I don't lose my cool, and I let my players do what they want. And yeah, like it's just,
He lost his
doesn't
cool.
work in football.
Josh asked him about stuff at the forum.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for Josh to call up Robertson. Hey, remember me? I asked you a question 3 months ago.
Can I tell that story?
Are you
story on the
sorry,
pod.
one sec. Are you gonna have like a Graham Arnold, like, where's my apology,
Where's
Josh? Are you gonna have one of those ones?
Oh, genuinely.
My
So,
apologies, Robertson.
so the story I didn't tell on the pod. So I did mention at the forum how Carl talked at me for about 45 minutes, and that's aging worse every day. So the
Keyword,
other thing he
talked
said,
at you. You had no
Talked at me, I didn't get a
chance
word
to
in.
get a word in.
the other thing, which is just the thing that is worse, that has aged worse than 10-day-old cheese out in the sun, right? Was he says to me, so he's talking about how he loves the criticism. So this is Carl Robinson we're talking about. He loves the criticism, and he tells this story. He goes, "Oh yeah, when I was in Vancouver Whitecaps, he's like, so you guys know Alphonso Davies plays for Bayern Munich, Canada, left back, one of the best young players in the world. So Carl actually gave him his debut. Fair enough. Good on him. That's a good move.
He wants credit for that now.
So he got criticism, apparently. This is a story he told me, from a local journo for giving a like 15, 16-year-old his debut. And then what he did was he said he kept the newspaper. And then when Alphonso Davies got bought by Bayern Munich, he went to that journalist, literally went to the office, gave it back to him, and was like, now you're going to put me on the front page more positively. So then he's talking about that, right? So he's talking about how he loves the criticism and he loves proving people wrong. And that's what Carl Robinson does, proves people wrong. And so he goes to me, even though I wasn't that critical of him, I was quite nice, but he took it badly. He goes to me, you had a go at me tonight. I'll tell you what, when we win the grand final, I'm taking you in my press conference, and in front of every journalist in that press conference, I'm telling them, this guy doubted me at the start of the season, and look where we are now.
Wait. Are you bullshitting right now?
I swear to God. So literally, I got someone from the club who was walking past at that moment, and I made them witness it. And I was holding on to this because I was like, if for some absolute unknown reason we win the grand final, I'd be very intoxicated, let's be honest. But I'd be walking up to him and being like, you promise? And I think he would have done it. Like, I think he would have stuck to it. And instead, he's been sacked 3 months later.
So can we get him on the pod now and say...
I am clipping this.
Oh, please do.
I'm clipping this. And I'm tagging the club.
Sweaty, no word of a lie, that happened. And so yeah, thanks, Mig. Yeah, that genuinely truly happened. So I've been holding on to it, and then now I've decided to release it because it's a sad day. When he got sacked, my dreams of being in a grand final winning press conference were finally dashed.
Believe
so.
that. Well, let's quickly go through the game just real quick now. Like, there is no point at the moment now. Like, it's come and gone. Who gives a crap? But we did have a Australian Open final that night. Ash Barty won. Congratulations. We also had the men's doubles. Shout out to the special Ks, Kokonakis and Kyrgios. And peak Robbo, 60% possession, nothing to show for it, no chances. We got absolutely rinsed from a couple of counterattacks, defense non-existent, playing absolute rubbish. It looked like they absolutely had no idea what they were doing. There were no good players, and I have now been perma-banned from tweeting live. I'll take full responsibility for that. But I have to say, in my defense, a lot of people were in agreement. I'll just say that.
We all agree with you.
But,
no one was disagreeing, Nick.
I'll wear that one. But Robbo out. The Robbo out train has finally come and gone now. So Robbo out.
Shinkansen, mate, is gone. It's in Wales already. So.
Yeah, what can we actually thank? Can we thank him for anything at this point? Tats, I want to start with you first.
Oh, just like really good preseason videos, man. They're really good. He's very good on camera.
Thank you for thank you for the motivational chit chat. Josh, anything we can thank Robertson for?
Oh, I think I've done some of my best podcasting work directly because of Carl. So I owe him that he's given me an avenue to get angry. So look, Carl, if when ATV makes it and we become huge stars, we'll thank Carl because this is where I started.
Steve, before I go to you, Ethan says he gave some exposure to some of our youth players. I'll give
He
him
did
that.
that, yeah.
He did do that. Yeah,
I mean,
it's
I think
probably
it was-
it was.
But did
it
he
was
or did
probably,
we have injuries and he needed to get them
Yeah,
on
it
the
was-
pitch?
Yeah,
It was forced.
And then he
Well,
threw
I
them
mean-
under the bus this year by signing experience, by blaming the
Yeah,
inexperience for why we lost last year. So
I was waiting for him to go to Sydney Morning Herald or Vince Regari and saying like, yeah, put me on the front paper now. Look what I've done. I've put some youth out there. Steve, anything Robinson, sorry, has done that's good that you can thank him for?
I'm trying to think of a Newcastle Jets joke here, but I can't think of it. I
Jetting
saw
off.
Irish George in one of the chats said, "Can we give back the Newcastle players now?"
Oh, no swapsies, no refunds. Can we get Can we get like Kinkladze, whatever his name is, and Bumal?
Mikkel Tadzi.
Mikkel Tadzi. Sorry, like and Bumal as well. That guy's quality. I was watching a game yesterday. Shame they lost in the end, but damn, he's good.
Can I just say, Nick, we've lasted. What do we say at the beginning of the season? How many games were we going to give Robbo?
5
It's been
games? Did we say?
Oh, it's 7 now. So he lasted 7, and probably because of the gap and all that sort of stuff. So he would have been sacked by New Year's Day, I think, if we played those games.
Oh, this is a sacked by Christmas, definitely. I think this is an honorary sacked by Christmas. So let the record books show it's now Christmas Day. He did make it to Christmas.
Yeah, 7 games.
Well, if you think about it, we had a 0-0 draw against Sydney FC. We had a 2-2 draw against Newcastle Jets. We beat the Wellington Phoenix somehow. We lost to RPL Leichhardt. We lost to MacArthur FC. We lost to the Mariners.
Mariners are an FA Cup final, mate.
Yeah, we drew with Melbourne City and we've lost against Brisbane Roar. But in between all that, we've had postponements and cancellations through COVID and all sorts of other bits and pieces. But if you think about it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 A-League matches he lasted.
Hey, didn't
We
I say
didn't lose the derby.
we didn't?
True.
did.
Undefeated.
We'll take that. We have yet to lose one in
I
the
said
last.
before the season, before COVID just broke everything, right? I said all the games, like 90% of the games are in New South Wales, and 70% of those are at home, and no excuses to get points. And look where we're at. We're 11th on the table, threw all these points away, and the coach has been sacked. 10 season celebrations, yay! Like what the hell, man?
We're only 11th because Newcastle Jets still have a game.
We've got games
they
in
have a
hand as
game
well.
in hand.
Technically, we could be
Well,
4th
empty.
if we
Yeah.
win 2 games, right? So
Yeah.
it's going to be like that. Like last year, we could just jump the table, but we talked about that last year. We never jumped the table. We just stayed where we were, even with the games played.
If you recall, at the famous or now infamous fan forum of only a couple of months ago, where he talked about accountability, look out for your mates, we're responsible, we have a lead, and all this sort of stuff. Do you think he's going to take accountability for this for this outcome now? Is he a man of his word, Josh? Since you're his best mate.
Okay, I will say that if I can say one nice thing about Carl, I genuinely think he would not be surprised, not be, angry that he's been sacked. He straight out said a lot of times, genuinely on repeat to the point where it was getting a bit annoying, that if we don't win this season or we're in the same position as last season or whatever, it's on me and I wear that and I take full responsibility for that. So I truly, truly, truly do think he will cop this and say, fair enough, it's on me. Now, look, don't get me wrong. We've all seen him in press conferences. I'm sure he'll go back to Vancouver or Wales and he'll be in a press conference talking about some crap and COVID and this and that. But he said it's on him. He said straight out, if we can't win or we're going to lose, that's my responsibility. And he's been sacked now. So he can't have any complaints. And I do genuinely think, that he would, to his credit, stand by that. But obviously he wouldn't be happy about it. No one's going to be happy about being sacked in any capacity. No one's going to be happy about failing any job. So I'm not expecting him to kind of love it. But I do think he would cop it.
Well, let's discuss our new manager now, even if he is till the end of the season. But I very much am of the opinion that he's going to be a end of the season, and then we'll see where we're at come that time, because he may be offered an extension, which is normally the case with interim managers. But like any managerial appointment, for something to happen so quickly, it would have been in the club management's mind. So, out of any other managers we could have probably looked at the moment, is there anyone else you thought that could have come into place for Robinson at this particular point in time, Stephen?
Well, everyone's been talking about Ernie Merrick or even GVE, like Gary Van Egmond taking over
as a permanent manager or
Yeah,
as an interim manager. Okay,
whatever it is, right?
Yep.
Rudan's obviously. I'm surprised no one thought about him because I think I thought about him off the top of my head. There's no one else unless you're poaching like Ufuk Talay or something like that. Like Alan Sajic is at the Asian Cup at the moment. They made the semis. They won on penalties. The Philippines. That means they're in the women's. That means they're in the Women's World Cup, right? So that's next year. So people thinking that he's going to like get the job or go for the job. Was like, well, is he going to do that? Or is he going to stay now with Philippines to coach at a Women's World Cup in Australia, which would be even easier for him? So he's probably out of the mix now. So you're unless you bring Cosmina back from 10 years ago, there's a very limited amount of Australian coaches available, right? So whether they've given him only 6 months or like the rest of the season because they're thinking they're going to get Tale or something like that after, I don't know.
Gustafsson.
Yeah,
Tom Gustafsson, anyone? That's what's happening there.
we want to fix our defense, not get worse, and we want to have a better game plan than just kick the ball into the box and hope for the best.
Oh, let's speak about that now. Let's have a look at Rudan. Now we mentioned about the appointment and all those sorts of things there, but Josh is more of the technical brain here, and anyone else please chime in as you see fit. But we do need someone who's going to kick these players up the arse and literally tell them like, you're not here to muck around, you're here to play football. If you're not going to play football, GTFO, there's the front door. We need someone like that because Robinson was not at all in any way, shape, or form intimidating or authoritative from what we could notice. It was like, I'll put my arm around you, I'll be your mate, whatever, but it was like there sort of a thing. It wasn't like a there, slap on the back of the head, now go do it again, sort of a manager from what I could notice in any case. But he does sort of come across as an authoritative figure. He doesn't take crap, as we've seen. He's not afraid to pretty much say it as it is. And effectively, he's the opposite of what Carl Robinson is. Tactically, he does look like he knows what he's doing with Wellington Phoenix and with the and with Western United. You can see there's a structure in place there. Again, with our squad, it's up to him now to manage this team and see how we're going to set up and what we're going to do in terms of players available and the way we're going to go at games. Possession, counter attack, pressure, wing play, whatever the hell he's going to be doing. Coming from that particular, I won't say era, but that particular moment in time with other managers like Popovich and things like that, you might think Rudan may be, the closest thing to a Popovich, but whether he's got the level-headedness to just, ease it down a little bit instead of just blowing up, that could be something there, which is probably one of the bad things there. He could be a little bit unstable, a little bit volatile. Will we actually see attacking football? That's another question if he's going to be focusing on defense. But at the end of the day, we really need someone to come in here and put an end to this, feel good there type of thing. We need someone to really kick them upside their asses and get them going again. So do we see anything changing anytime soon, Josh? Because we know Rudan has that controversy around him as well. And I know there's something you want to mention about his background and all these other bits and pieces too.
Yeah, so I'll touch on the first thing you said first. I think this is what I think is going to happen. I think he's going to tighten things up. I think we will get better this season under him. That's what I genuinely think. I think we could even push for finals under him. Not definitely, but I think he will immediately change things around because, like you said, he's going to give the players a kick up the arse. He's going to give them a structure. He's going to give them jobs, and they're going to know what they're doing a bit. And I think they'll have the quality to make it work. Then I think what's going to happen is he's going to get given a long contract, like a 2-3 year contract, because he'll do well this season. And then the problem is we're giving all the power back to one guy who is that kind of manager again. So we're not going to make any changes at the club. We're just going to reaffirm the structure that we have now by giving it to someone who is that. So I've been calling him Popper 2.0 all day. I think he is Popper 2.0, except exactly what you said, Nick. Popper was unflappable. Popper was calm. Like you could tell on the inside he was raging, but he was not someone who was losing his cool. He always had the capacity to make the decisions he needed to make or do what he needed to do. He wasn't losing it at anyone. He kept the dressing room intact. It was probably a fine line at times, I think, but he kept it intact. So I think genuinely, Rudan, he's going to get an extension because he's going to do well this year, and then it's going to blow up at some point, and we're going to be back having this exact same conversation with no change in anything. Look, while I'm rambling, I'll touch on the kind of the second thing you said. So, look, for me, and this is something that I really wanted to kind of mention and talk about because I think it's really important. Look, I have big concerns about, obviously, his personality and his style of management, but also there's other stuff that's kind of come up the last few years that I think is concerning potentially at the very least. So, I mean, and I want to stress, like, look, nothing I'm talking about is definitely known. It's all allegations, it's all conjecture, it's all reports. But I want to stress that all I'm saying is there were allegations and there were reports made. But I think it is important that we do at least acknowledge, with Mark Rudan coming to the club, that we kind of talk about this, or at least, you know, acknowledge it. Like, for those that aren't aware, a couple of years ago, probably 2-3 years ago, something, there were some allegations made against Rudan. 5 years ago, was that what you're saying, Tat? Yeah, 5 years ago, 2017.
Wow,
yeah, there were some
that long
allegations
ago.
made against Mark Rudan. Look, I'm not going to mention who it was about. It's a high-profile member of the media. Basically, the allegations were, and I'm not saying anything except that these allegations were made, that he stalked her, he hired a private investigator to film her, he got into a fight with her partner, with her there, some really nasty stuff and some really heavy stuff. And I think it's important, honestly, for us that we at least acknowledge that this is something that's kind of happened. Particularly, like, I don't know what you guys think, but like, for me, football and sport has a big problem with some of this kind of stuff, like with when there is violence or when there is things like that happen or could happen or whatever, how it's dealt with, how we as fans kind of discuss it. It's often swept under the carpet, it's swept under the rug, it's the elephant in the room, it's something that no one feels comfortable talking about or addressing. So that's why I think that, right, obviously, like, we're just around the block, we're not the police or the, you know, legal system or anything, so we're not going to tell anyone what to think or whatever. But I think it's important for us, at least, that we acknowledge that allegations were made. We acknowledge that this was something that was reported. So, should have mentioned, so it was reported in the Sydney Morning Herald. That article has since been deleted. I don't know what that means, but make of that what you will. I just think it's important for us that we sort of do acknowledge that allegations were made of that nature, because that's pretty concerning stuff, particularly with, like, and look, and this has nothing to do with Rudan or Wanderers or the A-League, but like, we've seen literally in the last day or two, a famous Premier League player accused of horrific crimes against his partner. And I think it's so, regardless of what we know or what we don't know, I think it's important that we as a club and we as a fan base address the fact that these allegations were made. I think it's important we do this so that it's something that isn't just taboo to talk about. I think it's important that it's something that people can feel free to speak their mind, and people can feel free to have this conversation without feeling like, yeah, like that stigma is there or like they can't say it. So look, again, yeah, I don't want to tell people what to think. I'm just saying that's something that causes me, at least as a Wanderers fan, a lot of discomfort to feel. And we've got to rationalize that against our own being a fan of the club and supporting the team and wanting the team to do well. And also, you know, unproven allegations, what does that mean? And it's something that's really uncomfortable for me. And I know a lot of Wanderers fans, it's pretty uncomfortable for as well, having to kind of rationalize that and having to kind of come to terms with that. So I think at the very least, even if we can't rationalize that sort of discomfort and how that feels, I think us at least acknowledging that it's there and kind of putting it out there and being like, this is a thing that has happened is important to me, at least. So I don't speak for anyone else. That's just something that I think is really important for me.
I do have actually found a copy of the presser. If you do you want to just quickly run through it real quick to see if we can suss whatever's out from it?
Yeah, I don't know how much like detail. The press conference.
Yeah.
Good morning, all. Thank you for
Can we all hear it
attending
first of
this
all?
morning. Obviously, we've had a mixed start to the season, and unfortunately, we've had to make a change. But on the other side of the equation,
Can I just say the audio levels are just all over the place? It's coming out of the left, half out of the right. Please, AV team, come on.
that's
You
right.
make
I'll have a word.
the best inspirational videos and you can't get audio like this done properly. Come on, man.
I'm just looking at AT's beard.
Salt and pepper.
Yeah.
we're very excited to announce Mark Rudan as the head coach for the balance of the season for this year. 7 games gone, another 19 to go. Everything to play for, a whole season ahead of us. We're very excited by the squad that we've assembled, and we said that before. And we believe that Mark will, with the qualities that he has, will permeate throughout the team and enable us to have the success that the first team, the A-League men's team, craves for. So I'll pass over to any questions, and from there.
Yeah, JT, it's George Clark here from AAP, mate. We went all in with Carl. You gave him total control of the football department, and then you've allowed him to crash it into the wall, basically. Why did you give him all that rope?
Oh, look, we had, we believe in the coaching system. We believe in the coach. The head coach needs to be able to govern the way he wants to convey his team on the pitch. I mean, being able to bring in the players that he identifies, the way he wants to play. When
Sorry, I just have to pause it there. The way he wants to play, seriously? He brought in the players he wanted and he couldn't even make it work, seriously.
when we invest in a coach, we believe in him and we believe in the structure that he'll bring. Unfortunately, it didn't work out for Carl. But having said that, Mark is here to pick up those pieces and hopefully bring us the success that we need.
You say that, but this is now the fifth manager, I think, since Tony Popovich. Why should anyone believe that this will be any different? It seems like you're just making the same mistakes again and again.
No, they're fair answers, and the narrative out there is certainly the case, and I appreciate what's been said out there. Notwithstanding all that, we've made some mistakes along the way, but it doesn't mean that we don't believe that we're on the track. Everything here is set. Everything else is set here. We just need success on the pitch, and we believe that Mark will be the one that brings it along, and we believe that come April, May, that we'll be having happy days here at the Wanderers.
Straight off the bat, anyone have anything to add to that straight off the bat? Anyone at all?
Well, he's not going to say our shit.
So it's everything we've heard for the last 5 managers, man. Everything. Surely. All right, well, I think there's a little bit more left of George's attack.
You say that, but for the fans, it must feel like Groundhog Day.
Yep.
A manager given a handful of games to prove himself, and they're voting with their feet, mate. They're sick of it. They're not turning up to the games.
No, I understand that, but like I said, we've taken action in that. There's some clubs around the world that they need to address some deficiencies in terms of that, and certainly we've made an action here yesterday, and certainly we made that call early, giving us every opportunity, because this season we believe that we will have success.
But mate, you've been a part of this club for a long time.
Yep.
You've overseen a lot of the changes. The club just seems to meander from one post of mediocrity to another. When are you going to take a look in the mirror and say, it might not just be the manager who's the issue?
Yep. No, certainly. I reflect on that every day, George. No problem. Big enough and old enough to take those criticisms. But at no stage do I resolve from the responsibility of CEO of this club. I won't do that. But having said that, I need to action to make sure that we give us the best opportunity to have success this season. That's what we've done.
But you say that, but I think before Christmas, the club's culture was criticised. Dean Heffernan said it was the most toxic environment he'd ever worked in. Patrick Tunsig said the club had no identity. You're overseeing all of
Yep.
So is it now time for you to, I don't know, have an independent review into what's going on? Because we've not made finals in forever, mate.
No, we talk about culture. We talk about the environment in the club. I've got over 100 players, staff, administration in this club. They can readily attest to all that here. There'll be a day when I won't be the CEO of this football club, but today's not the day. Today we're announcing Mark Rudan as head coach.
So Mark comes in, he's given to the end of the season. Why aren't you backing him further? Is there someone else you've got in mind?
No, Mark, we're backing in Mark for the rest of the season. We've had to act very, very quickly, and we've done so. It gives us an opportunity for both of us to bet in what we need to bet in, and we'll be moving forward with Mark, and hopefully be out for long after that.
Thanks, mate. I'll pass on to someone.
Wow.
Jeez.
Seriously, man. Come on, bro. He's got a point there. He's like, you've only brought him off the rest of the season. You've got someone else in mind. What next? What's Mark thinking now? We didn't trust. Cop the L. Must be cheering this was not in person. Man, this is rough. Someone says it's more awkward than hearing your parents doing it. Seriously. Hard to watch, but yeah, like Laura says, it's nothing we haven't said ourselves for how long now. Like, it's the same old thing, but he's got a point there. He says, this is the fifth manager under your watch. Have you not looked at yourself in the mirror lately? And look, no disrespect to JT, he's a lovely fella and everything, very hospitable, very welcoming, but come on, man, like, if you're a manager or if you're a CEO and you're not performing and getting the right people in there to basically help the company grow, you're going to be looked at and fingers going to be pointed at you. But there's no finger pointing. There's no, hey, JT, knock, knock. Your time's running out here. Why isn't that? So, can someone answer that to me, please? Anyone at all? See, no answers. No one knows. See, exactly. See,
I answered that before.
their KPIs are not our KPIs. He's obviously meeting what they want to meet. That's the only answer to it. The only answer I can think of anyway. But that that press conference was pretty funny. No one's gone hard at someone like that in a very long time in Australian football. So he obviously doesn't care. Doesn't care about his credentials and getting his press pass taken away from him. He's like, forget it. Yeah.
Great comment. Run the memes. Shout out. Run the memes. Great comment. Go Tats.
Sorry, just before we move on, like I don't really want to talk about the press conference. I actually want to just like add on to what Josh was saying just before the press conference. Like Josh, I know that like it seemed like, and I've heard you speak for so long, and I feel like that was like a little bit difficult for you to talk. You sounded a little nervous talking about it, even though you said we shouldn't feel like we can't talk about it. Unfortunately, we were reminded very quickly on Twitter today that there are things that we can't talk about because defamation is still a thing, and he wasn't like there were no actual charges. It was all alleged, and there were no charges pressed. But I think what I would like everyone to remember, especially coming off of the timing of it, because of like the news that we got this morning, not that it's the same thing or anything like that, but like you said, a lot of these things are pushed under the rug, especially when it comes to, you know, like famous and successful sportsmen and sportswomen. I'm not going to take that away, but what I would like for Wanderers fans is if they do want to talk about it, and especially if whether they're women or not, I think we need to acknowledge that there are Wanderers fans that are going to be uncomfortable with this, and I think rather than trying to push it away, if he does have a successful season, like, or half of the season or whatever it is, just acknowledge that this is always going to be something that's going to hang over a lot of Wanderers fans as well. So I just like not dismiss some of the fans' feelings, and I hope that the club takes that on board as well, to be honest. Because like I said, like you want to be happy for the club with your whole heart, and you want a successful coach, but you know, like, again, it's all alleged, but if there's anyone, not just women, who've experienced anything as scary as like stalking or people break into your house or whatever it is, like they have every right to feel uncomfortable about it. So like I guess there are things that we can't talk about, but the least we can do is just acknowledge discomfort of our fellow fans. Yeah, that's all I wanted to say on that.
There's also allegedly burner accounts and things like that.
The burner account. We can't forget about that, Steve.
And arguing with fans and things like that. So yeah, I'm not going to add to what you and Josh just said, because you guys say a lot more eloquently than I can. But it's interesting from the club to go this way when they talk about club for the people and things like that, and then they're looking at it from one perspective, like we need a solution for the football, and they're looking only at that, but they're not looking at the broader picture, or maybe they should be. So it's. Yeah, all I could say is it's an interesting decision from that perspective, that they've lost a lot of fans over the last few years for football reasons, and this might not bring them back. It's like this, you might be losing more fans now, so it's a massive risk. And even if he wins the grand final, you're still going to have these, like you said, Tats. It's going to be a cloud over everything. How far can you Tats like celebrate when you know this is in the background as well? If we win the grand finals, like we won, but there's a bit of an asterisk against it. I can't. So.
And for me, like I can say that that's never something that I've experienced, but I would hate that something as wonderful as like winning a championship and stuff, and winning trophies is going to be tarred for other fans. Because we consider our fans our family. That's going to be tarred because of something like this. I wouldn't want something like this to ruin it for them. But yeah, like I saw a comment earlier, someone tweeted, it was like, I'm Wanderers till I die, and this club is doing everything they can to make sure that's soon. so that was just to make you guys laugh.
On that slightly tangent, but also the club's come under fire in the last couple of months for the apparent toxic culture. And then they've hired Mark Rudan as the coach. And even if it's literally you're just looking at him as a football coach, Western United, Wellington Phoenix, do you think they're going to be telling you about how good their culture was when Mark Rudan was done with them? So it's literally like we've got this powder keg, and we just got a lit fuse and we're just kind of waving it as close as we possibly can. So that's another thing. Like, and yeah, again, like obviously the stuff we've just talked about goes beyond football. But even if we do just focus on the football, God, like, is this the answer to any of the problems?
And we're playing West United this Saturday.
Yeah, well, but even just like the
Sorry, I had to.
written by Larry David. He's doing the Wanderers script. But
That's all I can do now, man. All I can do is just laugh. It's the whole Wanderers
like,
is a meme in a Kobe Enthusiasm episode.
But even look at this, like we're on the right track. Wanderers deny basket case claims as Rudan replaces Robertson, as written by Vince Rigari. Are we we are a basket case though? Surely we're a basket case right now. Surely we're Banter FC. We really are.
Yeah, this is
Oh.
We've been Banter FC for a while, and 10th season celebration. If we did something this season, it all goes away, right? But it's just going worse and worse. Peak A League. I don't know where this peak is, man, because I feel like I'm on a hill next to my house, and peak A League's like Mount Everest or something, because we're nowhere near it. Like, peak A League happens every week, and we're at the moment we're at the summit of peak A League at this club. It's just like
Perfect photo.
That's great.
it's free entertainment, but I love it. It's just, you can't write this.
Yeah, that's the thing.
No.
Where's the USB? La 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 la. I can see opposition fans are gonna be enjoying that one.
They're gonna love it.
100%. Yeah,
So
and this
we've got
manager
2 home games.
appointment won't help fix the culture. Yeah, culture.
So we've
Maybe
got 2 home
think
games.
we have what?
We got 2 home games this week. We got one
Yeah.
against
We have
Perth on
3
Wednesday.
home games within 10 days, by the way.
Okay.
Because we're playing
So-
on Wednesday the 2nd, then we're playing Saturday, then we're playing the following Friday.
There you go. There's the other return. Oh, it's not the best win percentage, but I'd like to see what Robinsons are at the moment. I might actually try.
Robertson was worse. It was terrible.
Worse? Oh, fantastic. All right. Well, that's a little bit good as well.
But the fans are going to have their chance to make their voices heard, I guess, very quickly, because we're playing in 2 days or tomorrow.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
listening to this. So
Yeah, so
we're
we'll
on Saturday
yeah.
again at 5:00. So
Yep.
you can get there early with your family until the club. What you feel, get your kids to do it too.
It's going to be an interesting one, man. We've got 2 games now. Well, as we said, Gary Van Egmond will take over against Perth at least on Wednesday, and then you'd have to think the first game Rudan's in charge of is, funnily enough, against his former team, Western United. And that's where I said in our group chat, like, who's writing the script for this? Larry David? It has to be. Like, you can't make this up. Like, how does it work?
We're playing Wednesday and we're playing Saturday. There's like a recovery session on Thursday. He gets 1 session on Friday. Oh, it's Rudan's team.
One or two.
Unless he's coaching today, because he would get up in the
Yeah.
press conference. So I don't know.
He might. I don't know if he might.
But
do
he
the
might be-
Tats.
No, what I was going to say is that article was written before Mark Rudan was appointed coach, so we don't know that if he might need to just take the reins on Wednesday anyway.
Yeah,
might.
to be fair, I will say I did hear from someone at the club. They were like not sure what's going. Like it's too soon to know what's going to happen. So Wednesday, I don't know. Genuinely, could go either way. I think.
So just quickly, I feel like they were looking for a replacement in the last 4 weeks, because the fact that when Robertson was sacked on Sunday, it said that it didn't say, they didn't name an interim coach like they normally do. Like they normally say, this is interim coach, this is assistant coach, he'll do it for the next whatever until we find a coach. They said that the coaching appointment will be discussed in due time. So that they already had him lined up, and they've probably taken the last 4 weeks to like talk to him or talk to potential candidates and say, you're in the wings. As soon as like we have a shit result or a couple of shit results, you're in. Pretty much similar to what they did with probably JP as well. They gave him the job, but they were always looking elsewhere just in case. And they poached Robertson. That was great. It was interesting that they didn't name an interim straight away. So they were prepared for this. I think they were planning for this. If it wasn't this week, it would have been next week. Like it was going to happen, unless he suddenly went on his winning streak and Robertson took us up the table. But it was only a matter of time, I think.
You what, mate? Are you serious? No chance winning streak. The only thing we're winning at the moment is a wooden spoon by the looks of things, if things still
No, we're
continue.
11th. What are you talking about? We're not last.
Close. If you're not first, you're last. All right, Ricky Bobby, quote me on that. But like I said, we've got Perth coming up on Wednesday, and they've been on a decent run of form. Who's over there again? What's his name? Garcia, the bloke who... Was that the guy
Pollens.
who had? Yeah, was that the guy? Yeah, Pollens. Thank you very much. That's the guy that Pollens absolutely tore to shreds, and then posted the crying child emoji or meme, whatever the hell that was.
Is Sturridge playing or
I doubt it, man. I don't know if that bloke's still.
Are they even allowed out of the state? What's going on?
I
He
have
got
no
COVID,
idea.
so he won't play because I think he would probably be out of ISO by now. But I doubt he's like for Sturridge to be match fit takes a miracle at the best of times, let alone if he's been in ISO for a week or two. So don't think there's any danger of Sturridge.
Like I said, like Perth, buying a sports car and not checking the VIN number for the history. It's like, and you're still paying loan repayments on it. It's not doing anything for you. Like, there's a reason why Liverpool fans who follow A-League said, yeah, this is awesome, but how many games he's going to play? Because we know his injury record, Josh. Like, we know this. And apparently he does have Rona, but even then still, like, how many games has he actually played? How many appearances has he had?
He's come off the bench twice, so and for a cumulative total of about 20 minutes.
Wait. How did he get COVID when he's been in Perth? He's been in isolation in Brisbane, then Perth, and then they've got no COVID over there. And then how did he get COVID?
He went to
They came out
multiple
though. They're playing
barbers.
games now.
He went to multiple barbers to find the perfect haircut. That's what he did.
Must have been the barber.
Must have been. But well, they're on.
I think they're based. I think they're going to base here for a bit.
Yeah, I think so. They got out. They got out of WA because Western Australia stand can't go in there. But they're on 2 wins and 3 losses. We're on 3 losses, a win, and a draw in our last 5 matches in all comps. But anything goes. We're playing at CommBank, so who the hell knows what the hell's going to happen there. And then Saturday's the more interesting one. I'm already writing this game off because I really don't care. Saturday's going to be the interesting one there against Western United. What's Rudan going to cook up against the former team there? Because that'll be an interesting game considering that they beat they beat Melbourne City the other day. So obviously Melbourne City changed team because Socceroos and all that sort of stuff. But still, it's Melbourne City defending champions. Any predictions for the game against Glory? Tats, anything at all? Will you be announcing? You're back behind the microphone.
I'm on Wanderers socials. Turner's on the microphone. Which
I'm
is
sure you do a
so
much
much
better job
fun.
than me.
I'm sure I'm really gonna enjoy being on Wanderers socials for this game, guys. It's been a great week.
Rip your mentions.
I feel so bad for like the people that I only have to look at that on the game day. I don't have to. Actually, I get some notifications. I'm like, man, this is relentless. I don't know. Playing Perth, actually no. New manager bounce back. We're gonna win this one. We're gonna win 2-0.
New manager bounce. Wow, 2-0. We're winning against Perth 2-0. Okay.
Statistically, teams win straight after they sack their manager.
Josh, predictions?
Yeah, I'm going to say 2-1 win to Wanderers. The crowds to come flocking back. The new days are coming.
Yeah,
I'm
not
not
a warning.
Josh in the comments.
Yeah, the crowd's coming back. Go Rudan, come on, Popper
Maybe to
2.0.
protest.
Yeah, that's true.
Come on, Popper 2.0.
Look, I got to be positive. You know me with predictions. I can't predict a loss. Otherwise, I'll just get sad. So at least if I say we're going to win in my head, there's there's a day or two of us winning. So that's all I got at this point.
I'm interested to see what the crowd reaction is on a weeknight, no less, and see what the crowd is going to be like.
It's
but
late
Stephen?
too. It's 7:45. Kick off on a Wednesday night. It's not school holidays anymore. Or it is.
Yeah.
But Saturday's an earlier kickoff, though, guys. Don't
Saturday's
forget
5.
it's at 5 p.m.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Saturday's
So,
good.
so Steve,
Wednesday night,
predictions?
7:45. Prediction. I don't care.
Are we winning at least?
Can we get even lower? Like I feel like, have we hit rock bottom? Is this the lowest we can go?
I was literally thinking that today. I'm like, this must be rock bottom.
Is it?
Because
know.
because this is the whatever we've done the sacking of the coach and the rehiring, whatever. But like we sacked our coach, everyone was happy, and I remember like one of the tweets I believe was Megan, because she tweeted, "Everybody get down there on Wednesday. The club finally listened to us. They got rid of Robbo. Now they need all our support." And then they appointed Rudan as captain, and then she was just like, "I'm gonna I'm taking the tweet back," because it's like they did what we wanted, and they finally got rid of the coach and whatever, and then they've just appointed the worst possible person that a lot of people in our club feel is. So I think this is the worst, because it's like we got what we wanted but we didn't. So this is just, yeah, the only thing that I can think of is worse is Popper resigning like 2 minutes before the season started, you know.
Yeah, that was fine. Well, now
was,
there's more
what, about a
rumors
week?
spread. There's more rumors spread about, or not rumors, I should say, but more people making up possibilities as to why it was so easy for him to leave. Maybe he saw the writing on the wall, perhaps. Who the hell knows?
Nah,
Daniel
man,
C-
they worship that guy. There was nothing like they would have done anything he wanted.
He goes, rock bottom on Wednesday when we go 12th. That's Daniel C's prediction.
Actually, I take it
Megan
back.
is there.
Rock bottom's in the future because we haven't got relegated yet.
We need the rock for a rock
That's
bottom.
when we get relegated to MPL 2. That's when we're rock bottom. But oh man, I was going to say something, but I can't remember. I don't know.
Nah, whatever.
It's like-
It is what it is.
oh, that's right.
Have
Nishimura Curse was supposed to end this year.
Nishimura. Nah, it's been extended, Steve. It's been
Which goat
extended.
do we have to kill?
Was there a leap year? What happened?
I don't
Like,
know.
why are we going
It's been
extra?
7 years. I'm gonna go kill a goat or a lamb or something.
Nah, see, COVID
Sacrifice.
2020 wasn't counted. You know how we've all ignored that year?
Oh, but
And
yeah.
2021.
True. Well, I think we're gonna. One more question here. What will it take for JT to resign at this point? Oh, it's an interesting ending question here. Anyone want to answer that
I think
at all?
it'll take. I think. If I'm being entirely honest, I think Letter and JT now come as a package deal. So as long as Letter is there, I think JT will stay there. That's how I feel.
Steve, for you, anything?
I think Tats is on the money there, unless there's a change of board and they want a complete refresh. So unless the board, when the owners sell off and someone else buys the entity, I can't see him moving unless he moves on his own accord. He just wants another challenge or something. But
I doubt it. If it's too
everyone
comfy in the
boycotting
job,
entity, it's not going to happen.
yeah, too comfy in the job. Josh, anything for you?
I think it would take him being pushed. I don't think JT is quitting. I think and fair play to him. He's stubborn, I think, and I respect that a lot. Like that he would never give up. And so for right or for wrong, I think it would take Lederer pulling the trigger, to be honest. So
Pull the trigger.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to pull the trigger and say thank you very much. But before we leave, I do need to play this. This has been the this is the Wanderers right now. It's the kazoo version of Curb Your Enthusiasm. We don't even deserve the proper one. So that is it from myself, from Tats, from Josh, and also from Steven. Osman, if we finish last, he should go, just like we are going right now. Thank you very much for watching. This has been a tough, arduous, but needed discussion. Appreciate it very, very muchly. We'll see you on Wednesday, and then we'll see you on Thursday. # get your USBs out. Goodbye.